Yeah, nice fish. That's a good buck right there. All right, you guys, so let me talk through the spawn. Here in Western Washington, typically, you will start seeing the first beds at the very end of April. And then we'll see beds, you know, on a lot of lakes throughout the month of May into June. A year ago, I even found a bed in the middle of July on one particular lake. Water's clear today. I've got a bunch of pollen on top of it though, so we'll see how that plays out. Now this year, our weather's about 3.5 weeks behind. So we were literally into the first week or two of May before we started seeing fish on the beds. So it was really challenging. And we still have them on the beds now. You know, if you're gonna bed fish, being in a boat is ideal. You need to be able to move around in different locations and find these beds. Some beds that have been here, the fish have now moved off of them and they're in post spawn. But we're gonna look around for some beds. All right, so we have a lot of crawfish in our lakes, and because of that, I'm using some Berkeley Gulp Alive crawfish. Just give a few sprays on my bait. So I've got a Texas rig. I put a tube on instead of the 4-inch lizard. But I'm gonna grab, I like to start with my more finesse baits on a bed before I go to something more aggressive like a tube. So I've got this 3-inch Rage Baby Craw and green pumpkin. Give it a few squirts. So I'm casting well past the bed. I want everything to settle down. And then I will start working the bait. Now on drop shot, there's 2 ways you can work this bait. You can work it in an upward motion, or you can work it in a downward motion. If you have a lot of rock and timber, working it in the down motion, you're more likely to get hung up with the hook. So I like the upward motion better, but in the wind, going down seems to be a little more effective. And I just want to tickle the bait just a little. That's putting a lot more action on there than you would think. I want to try and hold that bait on that bed as long as I can. So what I've got here, guys, is I've got my main line is braid. I have it topped with about 6 feet of 8-pound fluorocarbon. And then of course I've got my hook tied on, my size 1 VMC spin shot, my bait, and then about a 12 to 15-inch dropper with my weight on it. Most typically I'm fishing a 3/16 ounce dropper. If I'm fishing really deep, you know, 20, 30, 40 feet, or if it's really windy, I'll fish 1/4 ounce. So you guys, this is the St. Croix Victory. It's a 610, medium light power, extra fast action. This is a great drop shot rod. I am really impressed with the action I'm getting on my bait, and also with the power when the rod loads up. Okay, I see another bed. I'm not sure if there's a fish on it, but we're gonna try. But if you've never seen a bed, you're totally new to this. Typically, it's gonna be about a 3 to 4 foot circle. It could be even smaller, it could be a 2-foot circle. And the male comes in and simply cleans the silt off of the gravel. And that's where the hen comes in and lays her eggs. So if you've never seen one, you'll know it. They look really clean. It'll be like a white spot in the water. And most often, if you get too close, you'll see the fish. You know, if you find a bed and the fish swims off, just back off the bed, Give it a few minutes, the fish will go right back to it. If you make a bad cast and you're nowhere near the bed, like literally you have to hit the bed. So if you're not going to hit the bed, just reel in. With this pollen on the water, it's making it a little challenging to see the fish really well. And that's something I'll point out. I mean, listen, you need a good set of polarized glasses. You can't just head down to Walmart and pick up a pair of polarized glasses and think those are going to be good enough for you. You need to invest a little bit of money into your glasses so you can actually see into the water. I'm wearing Costas. I prefer the Tuna Alley frame. I have a couple different lens colors that work really well here in Western Washington. I've got a blue and I've got a gray. I'm wearing the blue right now. I'm afraid that fish may not be on that bed anymore. Let's try over here one more time. All right, you guys, we've got a bed right in here in the inside corner of this dock. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move us over just a skosh so that I can cast down the edge a little easier. Fish on. Didn't choke it, but it's down in there a little ways. All right, guys, nice little smallmouth. He's not as big as I expected on this bed, but still he's a nice fish. Cut him loose over there. Caught that fish on a 4-inch green pumpkin lizard, and that rod's my Mojo Bass drop shot rod. Lost our lizard, so I'm going to get it re-rigged and we'll get back out there and find another one. I've got a couple today.
What type?
But my bass.
Oh, bass.
But
okay.
My clients past 3 weeks have been doing great.
Great.
Yeah, we caught that one fish off your dock like 6 times and then it's gone.
Seems like that.
Look at that.
Go ahead.
All right, guys. Okay, that's a nice fish. I was chit-chatting with one of the residents. I fish her dock a lot. Wasn't even paying attention. I knew I had the fish. I knew I had my bait on the bed, and it hit as I was talking to her. Yeah, nice fish. That's a good buck right there. Again, that time I was fishing the Victory, and it hit on a 3-inch Strike King Baby Rage craw in green pumpkin. I was gonna net the fish, and of course my net got hung up on my rod holder to keep my rods down on the deck when I'm running. So right there, guys, just like that. VMC spin shot, 3-inch Baby Rage craw. You know, if you don't have any 3-inch, because it's hard to find stuff, buy 4s and cut a little bit off. That works really good. Let's go find some more beds. Yeah, on that fish I just caught, I just saw a light spot off the end of this boat cover, and just knowing what beds look like, because you know, once you start seeing them, you'll get them down, you'll figure them out. And when you see those spots, you know, just cast on them. That was the second cast I made on that bed, and that fish hooked up. And by the way, I wasn't actioning the bait. He hit it while it was still, because I was talking to one of the residents here on the lake. So it just goes to show you that pause. I think Western Washington smallmouth, pausing that bait is critical in your presentation. Oh boy. Oh, got my crawdad. Okay. Well, we'll re-rig this one, let that fish settle down for a second. Now what I like to do is I like to come up from the belly and just have the hook point right at the nose of the bait. Some guys will come all the way up through the top of the bait and let the hook point just rest against the head. So I do it a little bit different than some guys. Now I'm not going to throw this again. I'm going to grab my Mojo bass rod that's got the lizard on there. So when that fish grabbed that bait, it just didn't have the hook in its mouth. Clearly it had the bait. So let's see what old Mr. 4-inch lizard can do here. Now it's really rocky in here, so I need to lift my rod rather than pull it to the side. Or at least if I do it to the side, I need to be really, really light on the movement. I can't quite see the bed because of the waves and the reflection. So I'm just giving it just a second. Oh, I see it, I see it, I see it. Oh! He broke me off. All right, I'm gonna retie and then we'll get back on him. All right, you guys, I took about 4 minutes and I re-rigged the rod with the craw, and I put another weight and another 4-inch lizard on my other rod, and now I'm gonna see if I can hook into this fish. It's pretty angry. Okay. All right, here we go. You know, when you're fishing a lot of rock and you're fishing top shots like I am, this fluorocarbon top shot on this braid, You're going to have some break-offs every now and again. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Just retie. I am using a modified Albright knot to tie in my fluorocarbon to my braid. I just like the knot. It's got a really low profile. So I had to reposition a little bit just to see the bed. Because of these waves. And really and truly, I can't see the bed. I know the bed's at the base of the bucket. I can see the top of the bucket. Not a huge buck, but a nice fish anyway. They fight hard. Sit right on that bed. All right, that would go.
Well, there's been a lot of osprey around. Of course, there's always a lot of eagles.
I just saw an osprey get one a minute ago.
Oh,
There we go. Wait till you see this fish.
oh, that's a nice one. Woo!
That's probably only about 2.5.
Still nice.
Yeah. All right, guys, we released that fish. That was the same resident that I was talking to earlier when we hooked up. And we hooked up another fish right here, the dock next to her property. So we're gonna go over here. There should be 3 beds over here on the other side of this gray T-dock. And I'm just gonna go over there and see if I can hook up, and we'll recap the day and finish up, head home. I think I'm a little to the left, but we'll fish this and see. That was a light bite. This is a dandy fish. Oh boy. Okay. That's a nice 2.5 pounder. Beautiful fish. All right. Off he goes. Okay, I saw this bed a few weeks ago, and it's the only reason I know it's there. And I couldn't remember exactly where it was. You just kind of have to break the water apart a little bit, but you can get on them. So let's get over here and see if we can pick up a couple other fish, and then we'll get out of here. So what I've got in here is an ecology block. It's like half of an ecology block. This one looks like it's like a 2x2, and there's a bed on the lake side of this ecology block. I can't see the block. I do have it marked as a waypoint, and it shows it's just in front of the boat, right at about 20 feet. Now typically I'd say 20 feet's too close to a bed, but we've got a good breeze. The water is preventing me from seeing the block, and if I can't see the block, I don't think the fish can see me. So I don't think there's a fish on this bed. I've fished it quite a bit, haven't got anything, but I've had a fish follow me off of this one, and I've had it hit. So we're gonna try for that guy right there. Oh, you little turkey. All right, guys. So, man, that last bed, it was tough. That fish did not want to cooperate. It hit a tube, and it hit the craw twice, and it hit the lizard once, and then nothing. So we're going to call it a day. Just kind of want to recap, you know, in Western Washington, you know, you can start looking for beds about the 3rd week of April. It might be a little early. This year, it was definitely early. You can definitely find beds in May. You'll find them all the way into July. Just depends on the body of water. Clear water is the ticket. If you're new to Western Washington, we have clear water. There are going to be some days where it's going to be really maybe murky, or maybe there's a bunch of pollen in the water. You know, just depends on the lake, you know, what kind of feeder creeks it has and stuff. But for the most part, it's clear. Stay on the bottom, and, you know, just put it on the bed. Keep it on the bed as long as you can. I try and be as subtle as I can, especially with drop shot. You know, most of our fish today came off the drop shot. We got hit on tubes. We got hit on a creature bait. They just didn't connect. That happens sometimes. So hopefully I've given you a little bit of information to be successful. Again, my favorite drop shot rod, St. Croix rods, Victory rod. This is the 610 medium light power, extra fast action. This is a nice drop shot rod. Of course, I did throw today the Mojo Bass, and this is a Mojo Bass. This is also a 6'10", medium light power, extra fast action. This is a great drop shot rod, and caught some fish on that too. So anyway, don't use heavy gear, and just remember, use baits that mimic the food source in the water. Our lakes are stuffed full of crawfish, and so it's not uncommon for these crawdads to try and sneak up on a bed and eat eggs or fry or whatever. So, you know, those craw colors are going to be great. Green pumpkin is a go-to with black flake. You're not going to go wrong. Until next time, thanks for watching.